Hello, Bio130 class. My name is Dr. Sawyer, and I'm the professor for Bio130 for all of you for sections 7 and 8. I'm sorry I'm not able to be there with you guys today. I am really looking forward to getting to know all of you and to spending the semester with you, and for some of you, spending a whole year with you. Right now, I'm tending to more important matters. I'm sorry, but I'm most likely at this point, if you're seeing this video, that means that I'm probably in the hospital with my wife and our brand new baby girl that was just born over the weekend. So that hasn't happened yet as I'm filming this video, but that's probably the case if you're watching this video. So don't worry, we're happy, we're healthy, everything's good. I needed Professor Dexheimer to cover the class for me so I could be there for my family. So I'm really looking forward to being back with you guys soon. And I will most likely be seeing you tomorrow on Wednesday in class. But for right now, I'm just going to talk about a few important things that I want you to know, and then Professor Dexheimer is going to go over some of the notes and go through some of the materials and some important things you need to remember for the rest of today. And then hopefully I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. So a couple of things that I want to just emphasize, and Professor Dexheimer will also be letting you know, is that one thing is you need to make sure you have your clickers purchased and with you, and also registered. You go on to iClicker.com. If you just Google iClicker registration, it'll pop up. You need to put your point loan ID on there and hit enter, and you'll be good. We're going to be using those clickers for quizzes in class, for exams, and lots of in-class questioning that all counts for points. So you need to have those clickers ready. Number 2 is you will need to be registered and signed up on the Mastering AMP website. You get access to that through your textbook. There's an assignment that's due tomorrow by class time on that website. So Professor Dexheimer will give you the course code that you need. It's found in the syllabus that he's printed for you. And that's that. Number 3 is today I printed the notes for you, that first PowerPoint packet. That's the last time that I'll do that. I will not be printing the notes for you from now on. So all the notes for section 1, for exam 1, are all posted on Canvas. You can go find those, print them all up, and I highly recommend you have those with you in class each day. That's either to write down just on the actual paper version of the notes, write down, fill in the blanks on the notes as we're doing that in class, or just get the PDF on your computer or your tablet and fill in the notes that way. So those are the main important things I wanted to cover. Now, I do want to let you know that we'll be going through the syllabus in a little bit more detail when I get back, and then we will also, I'll have a chance to answer any questions you have. But right now I just want to emphasize a couple key concepts from the first packet of notes. That is going to be the packet of notes that the material for the quiz number 1 is over, which is the quiz that we'll be having on Friday. I'm just going to emphasize a couple key points there, and then Professor Dexheimer is going to pick up from there and walk you through some more of that information. So, so a couple things that are real key to those notes. If you start on slide 5, actually, it just starts with a definition of anatomy. Slide 6 tells you the definition of physiology. If I could boil that down for you, what I'd like to say on that is that anatomy is the study of the structures of the human body. And that's just human anatomy, obviously. And there's many different types of that, developmental, organismal, lots of different types of anatomy, but the key there is that it's structure, the study of structures, okay? And then physiology, if you go to the next slide, slide 6, there is a study of function. And we tend to think of these two things separately. We tend to think, oh, I'm more of an anatomy person, or I'm more of a physiology person. But the key is that the structure of something in the body is going to dictate its function. And we're going to be talking about this all year, and this is a concept that applies to all of the human bodies, that structure dictates function. Okay? And I have an example on there, on the next slide, of 2 incredible Olympic athletes. I know some of you probably watch the Olympics. And you have an example of the woman who won the women's marathon. She ran 26.2 miles with an average of a 5:30 minute mile pace. Pretty stinking fast. The men have an average of about a 4:55 pace when they run the marathon. And so you look at their bodies, they're skin and bones pretty much, right? Obviously they're very muscular, but very skinny, very light, tiny little people. That's a good structure for the function of running 26 miles in 2 hours, like the men do. The women do it in about two and a half hours. And then you look at the other picture. It's the woman who won the hammer throw. She's a much larger woman, much bigger muscle, much more powerful, much more ability to produce a lot of power in one moment, but not a lot of power, not a small amount of power over a long period of time like those marathon runners can do. And so that's just on an organism level, an example of structure dictating function of a whole body. But we're going to talk about that on the level of each of the small microscopic structures in the human body throughout the semester. So that's that. Yeah, and then from there, if you go to slide 8, the levels of organization in the body is something we're going to keep coming back to as well. And we're going to start out the semester. We're talking about the chemical level, looking at the actual atoms, looking at how they come together to make molecules, looking at how those come together to make compounds. And we're going to look at how those come together to make tissues. Look at how those tissues come together to make organs. Look at how those organs come together to make organ systems. And then we're going to look at how those organ systems come together to make the full organism. And that's going to be an important concept that we deal with all throughout the semester and the year. So now the other key concept that we're going to hit on in this packet of notes is the concept of homeostasis. And Professor Dexheimer is going to walk you through that in a little bit more detail. But what I'll say about it is that homeostasis is not just a static state of not changing. That's kind of how we think of homeostasis sometimes, that there's just no changes occurring. That's not what it is. In the human body, our temperature is constantly rising up and down slightly. Our pH is constantly changing a little bit depending on metabolism or when we've eaten, what we're doing. So the body doesn't have anything that's just locked in solid state. So the real definition of homeostasis is a dynamic equilibrium that is always maintained, and these levels of different things are always maintained in a certain range of ability to move up and down. For example, pH is usually somewhere around 7.1, but it can go up a little bit when we become more basic, and it can go down a little bit when we become more acidic. And Professor Dexheimer is going to get into that in a little bit more detail. So the two examples that he's going to walk you through of homeostasis are pH, or also known as what we'll talk about is the acid-base balance of the body. And that's something we're going to talk about all year long. It's going to come up again and again and again. Same thing with the second concept of homeostasis, which is osmosis. And osmosis applies directly to water and electrolyte balance in the body. And a lot of that's going to have to do with a semi-permeable membrane, something that only certain things can pass through. So for example, a membrane that water can pass through, but other things can't. And maybe some salts can pass through, but other things can't. And so the example we're going to be talking about with that is the human cell and the plasma membrane on the outside of the human cell. And Professor Dexheimer is going to walk you through a couple examples of that. And that's very, very important for fluid and electrolyte balance, and it's going to come up again and again and again. And so what we do, and what me and Dr. Fleetstra both do, and Dr. Elson does as well, is we introduce two concepts in this class the very first day that are going to be two of the most important concepts that we cover, because they apply to all of anatomy and physiology. They come up again and again and again. And so if you can get them now, then you're going to be set. And that's what you want to do. You want to try to get these two concepts now, and Professor Dexheimer is going to walk you through those. So that's all I'm going to do here. I'm going to sign off and let Professor Dexheimer take over. But I appreciate you understanding that I'm spending some important time with my new baby girl and my wife right now. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you soon. And I hope the beginning of your semester is going well. And we'll see you soon.